What's going on, everyone? Mitesh here, and with the current pandemic and me doing my best to stay away from everybody, I've spent a lot of time using my Switch in docked mode than I've ever done before. And because of that, I've been looking for a good controller to use with the Switch because as much as I like the Joy-Cons, and I really do, I love being able to use them split, they're just not perfect controllers. Sometimes I just want a good old-fashioned controller, but the Nintendo Switch Pro controller is just a little bit too expensive at $70 for me. So I was on Amazon one day trying to find a good controller, and to my surprise, I actually found one that I really like that's pretty much an exact copy of the Pro controller, but it's just $30. Let's talk about it. Alright, so the controller I found is from a company called Beboncool, at least I think that's how you pronounce it, but yeah, apparently they make all kinds of controllers, but the one that I have particularly, they have a bunch of different versions of, so make sure you guys check the link in the description to get the correct one that I'm actually reviewing here. But with that out of the way, let's talk about this controller. And I'm going to start off by talking about the things that I don't like about this controller first, because there aren't that many things. Alright, so the first and most annoying thing about this controller is the overall button position of the plus and minus buttons. So they've switched it from how the Switch Pro controller has it, where it's actually in the correct position, where, generally, if you've been using the Joy-Cons, where the muscle memory is for the plus and minus buttons, that's where it is for the Pro controller. For here, it's been moved and switched with the other buttons. So it's been really annoying, and that's something that over time I've gotten used to it, but I still have taken a lot of accidental screenshots because of it. So just something you should note. That is definitely the most annoying part about this controller. And the second most annoying thing about this controller is just the fact that it's just not the best aesthetically. It's just not my favorite look. I really wish they would just make it plain black controller, but instead it's got these weird ribs on the side and the blue and red. I like my neon Joy-Cons, but these don't match those. So yeah. Just a small thing. Aesthetically, it's just not my favorite controller. But yeah, that's really it for the cons. For everything else about this controller, it's amazing. So first of all, it has all the things built in that you would expect from the controller. So it's got an NFC reader so you can read amiibos. It's got gyro controllers so you can aim using a controller. I've actually been using that in Breath of the Wild, and it's been much better than I thought it would be. And it's also got rumble that's surprisingly good. It also acts just like a Pro controller when you connect it to your Switch from the app for the first time. And literally the only thing that this controller can't do that the Switch Pro controller can do is wake the Switch up from sleep. Literally the only thing. And the joysticks here feel great too, and as an added bonus, they're also concave, unlike the Pro controller where it's convex. So your thumbs literally sit in there much nicer, and I personally just like it better. The face buttons are also really good, including the D-pad, and the triggers are actually pretty good too. I've been spending a lot of time playing Breath of the Wild, and having this control has made it a lot easier to beat all the Lionels in this game. Like, I had a tough time with Silver Lionels before, but this time it's been so much easier. It also helps having this controller not be so tiny. Like, the Joy-Cons are just too small, and this controller is definitely made for adult hands. Like, I would not buy this for anybody that's like under 13 because their hands may not be big enough for this controller. But if you're an adult and you need a good controller, this is a great controller. Now, the other thing that I really liked about this controller is the fact that it's got a built-in battery, so I didn't have to buy separate batteries for it. Come on, like, I don't want any separate batteries for it. And it's rated for about 14 hours, which actually I found pretty accurate. I've been using for about 2 weeks, and I've only charged it twice so far, so battery life is really good. It's also got USB-C, which is fantastic. And I know this is a lot of praise for this controller, but I promise you, I had low expectations of this when I first bought it, but it's exceeded my wildest expectations in a non-first-party controller. This isn't like the old Mad Catz controller that you may have bought for like the Player 2. This is a legit controller that I would be happy to use as Player 1. In fact, I am happy to use as Player 1. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. I just wanted to point you guys towards an alternative to the Switch Pro controller, which is crazy expensive and at times really hard to find. Like right now, it's still pretty hard to find. So you guys can check out where to buy in the description below. And as always, like this one if you liked it, subscribe if you guys loved it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.